All right, folks, welcome back to another episode of the Blockbuster Brothers. Today, Brian and I are reacting to the trailer of Eddingtin. Now, this film is an A24 film. They have been on a heater, to say the least, for the last 5 to 8 years, I'd say. The director, Ari Aster, was the director of Hereditary and Midsummer. And then he also was a producer for Beau is Afraid, starring Joaquin Phoenix. Now, if you haven't seen Beau is Afraid, that movie is raw, like almost too hard to watch at times. But it's certainly a well-made film, and I'm always gonna see something that Joaquin Phoenix is in. I think he's one of the greatest actors of the last 30 years. Do I want to see another thing with Pedro Pascal in it? No, but I'm gonna go see it because this seems to be original enough, and the director is obviously very talented. So I don't know. I liked the trailer, was a little confused, but I think that's kind of the point. There's a bit of mystery. Visuals look good. I don't know. What do you think, Brett?
Yeah, it seemed like it's probably going to be like a very heavy social commentary about like the COVID period of time, going back to 2020. That seemed like a big focus of it, and it did seem raw. I mean, as it unfolded, it kind of seemed kind of scaled in, and then it seems like, all right, this is going to be, a pretty wild crime western, kind of given the grittiness of No Country for Old Men. I like that western, the whole genre. There's a grit to it that I think lends itself well to the film world, and I think it will always be a sector of a genre that's prominent within the film community, and I think we haven't had necessarily the best westerns in a while. So I'm glad to see this back. This seems like it might be a little controversial, just based off of reflecting off of society in America. It's highly volatile, and it has been for some while now. So I think that this film might be polarizing to some degree. I think you might get some people that resist it based off of purely the content that it's covering. But again, I think that it looks good. You're not going to get me to say no with Joaquin. And I think with Pedro there too, I think it's like a sports team. When you get talented actors around other talented actors, it's exponential. So I'm hoping that, they kind of feed off of each other. And this is just a fun ride, a thriller, exciting drama. It's got Emma Stone in it too, I believe. She looks different as well. These actors are all changing their appearances every movie. But that's a whole nother subject. But I think I'm going to give it a go. A24 is on a heater. That doesn't mean necessarily all their movies have hit big, but they're pumping stuff out. They're pumping out original content, and I'm going to be here for that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. Okay, so it's out right now.
Oh yeah, and my buddy's going to see it tonight.
Okay, and it's a 2.5 hour film. It's a $25 million budget, and it opened with a 4.3 domestic weekend, which is
$4.3.
$4.30. No, 4.3 million. But my
for just the opening weekend.
Yeah, but
off of a budget of what?
25 million.
Okay, I mean that's the beauty of, and I think of being an auteur a little bit more like Ari, is you get these big names like Joaquin that are willing to do these projects not for a gazillion dollars. So that's in this world. That's how A24 is pulling this off. Is they're getting these stories done for 25. So when you have a box office of 4 million, it's not like, oh my God, we spent $300 million. Like,
right.
All right, 4 million to 25. It's like, all right, give it some time. Obviously, I think we're dealing with a huge thing where we've gutted out the DVD sales. So box office, I don't know what I would love to do a little bit more research into like what streaming pays these movies and what's like kind of what has replaced the blockbuster numbers, where these movies that didn't necessarily make a ton of money out the gate make it back in blockbuster. Is that still a viable? Can you still make money in the back end after a theatrical release? I think this is a great movie to watch out for in terms of like how that does, because I think people are screaming for independent movies, but they're not necessarily showing up when they get them. So it's a little bit of like, what do you want Hollywood to do? Like, if they're not making money, money speaks the loudest here. And I really support these independent art house pieces more so then you're just like your superhero flop per se. But it's still like just doing $4 million. So that's rough when you make a movie like Minecraft, and you wouldn't say it's absolute cinema, but it's making $1 gazillion because kids don't care.
Right. Yeah. And I actually thought, I was going to say before I looked it up, I was like, I think this is going to bomb, because I think anything during the COVID is just like
Too
nobody.
polarizing. You don't
Yeah,
want to see it.
but even separate from the polarizing, no one had fun during that period. So you're going to make a movie about, like, I think in 15 years or 10 years, that would be a really good idea, because it's distanced itself away.
Yeah.
But Brian's right, I think, about a lot of those things. Like, I'm going to support it. I'm going to see it. It's got great actors in it. Will it be super entertaining and a box office hit? My instinct is no, and it might do really bad. But we'll see. We'll know in a couple of weeks. But credit to A24 for just keeping pumping out originals, because we need more of that. And not to say like the super big budget movies aren't great, but we've kind of been in a streak of very safe big budget. Mortal Kombat 1, Mortal Kombat 2, all these different kind of things. So we'll see. But yeah, that's our reaction to the trailer.